Oh, sorry. Hey, guys, we're back. GPL, you can check out more of the action, gpl.garena.com. They're running a really cool event. It's actually Riot's Season 3 Asian scene, essentially. Yeah. So we'll be able to check out a couple more of these games. We have replays for you guys from these matches, so you guys can watch them here. And we're coming up, Manila Eagles versus the Taipei Assassins. Taipei Assassins, the big daddy of the league.
Yeah, they are. The big brother of who just basically just picks at everyone stealing lunch money, dominating the entire GPL. Mm-hmm. And it's always a joy to see them play, just to see all the creative stuff they come up with. Sometimes being a little bit trolly, but that's always fun too. But what makes Season 2 significant for TPA is a new member.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that's the interesting thing about this match.
Yeah. Now we have so TPA Dinter going to be joining the game. Do you remember also going back again to the IPL 5 Taiwan qualifiers? There was an AD player. I cannot remember a team at the moment, but he had a very strange name, Derek Jeter.
Oh,
that's him.
Okay,
that's
all
him.
right, cool.
So he's moving from AD down to support.
This is kind of scary, though. So that's the interesting thing, guys. Mistake was very strong with TPA, and he's actually moved over to the Taipei Snipers.
Yes.
So he's part of the B team now, or I guess this is the secondary team. We'll call it the secondary team as opposed to the B team.
I don't think TPA can have a B team. It's just Team 1 and 2.
But it's kind of funny. TPA, I've heard, they kind of blamed Mistake for their loss at IPL 5, and they thought that it was kind of indicative of maybe what's coming forward. Which is surprising to me, since he was always a very strong support. Honestly, when you look at those matches from like IPL 5, TPA looked very strong. The biggest weakness of the team that you could tell, there were two things. One, they kind of ran the same strategies a lot of different times, and I'll go into the very unusual comp that MLE has for a second. I don't know if you've noticed yet, AJ. They aren't running an AD carry.
No, they aren't.
But TPA, Little Balls, very aggressive. This is actually going to turn into a fight, so I'll hold off for a sec.
Little Ball's right out in front, running on XT. Nearly everyone on the Eagles. Bebe has to use the cleanse and the flash to get away, and that is what could have been a very disastrous invade. Actually results in no kills for either team.
So the big things that we notice at IPL 5, Little Balls has always been one of the most aggressive junglers in the game. He's very aggressive about counter jungling in particular, and he would always rush in oracles. You see, like 5-6 minutes into the game, he would get in oracles. And at this point in the game, games were really a lot of times decided by who could control their oracles. Well, Little Balls, he would get out of quick oracles, get him a quick advantage, but we saw almost every single game he would lose it within like a minute of getting it. I mean, just very quickly. He played a lot of Mundo, and it would be very aggressive. The enemy team would catch him out of position, and he would go down, lose the oracles, which was huge. Like, that was a big thing. The second thing is everyone was banning out Toys. Toys, his Anivia and Orianna, there is no question that Toys, when he's playing Anivia or Orianna, is almost unstoppable. He was incredible on those two champions. TF, on the other hand, that's a very aggressive champion. You would think it works with his style, but they through IPL 5, had a tendency to get themselves caught out of position. Whenever they would go in with the TF ganks with Toys, they would all of a sudden turn this around for like a triple kill for the enemy team. We saw it with Fnatic, with the Evelyn, getting a triple kill off of a TF gank, and that always turned them around. And then the other mid player mid champion he used was Karthus. Those were his only champions, and Karthus, he also struggled some on Karthus. But it's kind of interesting. So we'll see what's going to happen with TPA coming forward. They're still an incredibly strong team. Stanley on Nidalee is incredible. Look at the advantage he has already early on. But it's going to be cool to see. Now, back to this game in particular.
Yes, let's go to the champs.
Riven and Zyra bot lane.
Yeah. Actually, before we get too far into that, we also still have the bans to do real quick.
Okay.
Too. Eagles banned out Evelyn, Anivia, and Orianna. Targeted, clearly. TPA banned out Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, and Nunu. And Capchu here in the top lane, Little Balls with the axe and the harassment. Way too much for Shen to deal with. Has to flash away.
And forced out the flash, so that's definitely huge.
Yeah.
Stanley's in control of that. And really, early on, Nidalee isn't that strong. Nidalee's, she has some harass, but her harass was nerfed a number of times in the early levels. It's not until Nidalee's 6 and forward that Nidalee's strong. And then really, once she hits her second level on her ultimate, then she's really abusive in that top lane.
I gotta say, while the bot lane is interesting for the Eagles that they have no AD, no ranged AD, What interests me more is the mid.
Yes.
Zed, I've seen a little bit mid. I've played against a little bit to Zed mid. It is terrible to play against if you're a regular AP caster. But Kale, Toys, picking that as a counter pick to counter.
Well, it's really dangerous. There's the flash snare. They're not quite able to get Bebe. Trying to get in the stun, the flash. Can they get the follow-up from Amumu? There's the bandage toss, the exhaust as well. They get the first blood. That is what they wanted to do with that kill lane bot. They had to use multiple flashes to get Varus, but very dangerous. Little Panda backs off for a second. But really quick kill. Nice job. That's what they want to do. It's a kill lane. Missing out on that 80 carry. They're going to be very strong in the mid lane, or in the mid game. But then as the game progresses, they're going to really struggle with damage, and Bebe, if he can get that damage in the back line, he's going to easily out damage MLE's team. Toys as well, mid lane, getting a new champion to play with. He has a new toy, so Kale, definitely a cool champion. One of the strongest harassing champions in the game. Just really, really strong lane harass. So she can beat anyone in lane, but then having that ultimate against this assassination team, Zed in particular, his strength is killing 80 carries. He just has so much burst damage, but he's going to be able to jump in, and then all of a sudden, Kale, uses the ult onto Varus, and now Zed did nothing, and all of his cooldowns are down, and he just has no opportunities for any retaliation. So that's going to be kind of cool to see.
So basically what the Eagles have done here, going for this kind of comp, they're all inning on the fact that they can win before the 20-minute mark. And TPA, they're there at the table. It's like, Eagles put, hey, this is my rent money for the next 2 months. And TPA sitting there with the $1 million that they have. Like, yeah, I can call that. Yeah. Easy.
Well, it's not necessarily a 20-minute mark all-in, but it is, you're right, it is an all-in.
It's an all-in.
They're looking for, they have a team, they need to get an early advantage, because as it goes into late game, TPA is easily going to be able to win the late game. Olaf coming down bot, and you see Riven already starting to lose those exchanges. Blitzcrank is tanky enough and has enough CC that he's going to be able to counter off that Riven. It's going to be difficult to get past him. And then Bebe, he's going to have plenty of damage.
Yeah, and even though there's a kill on the Eagles, there's still a gold lead for TPA. How does that work? That's just farm. That's just pure farm.
It is just farm. And you look, Riven 21 CS to the 43 on Varus. So that's, it's very significant already. Varus is going to have an easy job farming there.
And Little Panda having a lot of trouble here in the mid. Toys with that damage. Level 6.
Even if Amumu comes in, there's not much they can do.
Yeah, ultimate. Done. That's it. Toys can just pop the ult on himself, and it's easy. It's really easy for him to get away. He's got the slow, got the movement speed. It's bad. It's a bad spot for the Eagles if they cannot start spiraling out of control, which right now it doesn't seem to be the case. Hook onto Ron, cannot get out of that one, and Dinter helping out with a big kill for the Assassins here in the bot lane, and now things are starting to spiral the other way.
Yeah, it's just a 1k gold lead. It's not that significant yet, but it means that Varus is going to free farm in that bottom lane.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult for them to pressure him. If Amumu gets down there with the ult, Varus is probably going to die. They should have enough burst damage to take him down pretty easily. But for the most part, it means they're going to have to go out of their way to try and get him. Little Panda, take a look at the damage he's taking from Toys. Toys actually has a mix of AD and ability power, and then, the E just really pumps him up a lot. But
Rage Blade, I'm crossing my fingers.
Dangerous.
I'm crossing my fingers for a Rage Blade later on in. Bebe taking out Czar straight out, no assistance needed.
And that was without his ultimate, so he hit level 6 after that kill.
Without his ultimate and without Blitzcrank.
Right, so that just chasing him down, using his range advantage to pick up that kill. Now with his ultimate, that's just, look at the kill combo here. He could just ult Ron underneath this turret, and then Blitzcrank pulls him out. They get a quick kill. It's going to be a very dangerous lane for the Eagles bot. Top lane, should be pretty passive still, but mid lane and bot are both heavily in TPA's favor right now.
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous, and all compounded by the fact that there is no ranged potential at all. The only real range that they have is maybe just one set of vines and a bandage, and the occasional shuriken. That's it. Everything else very up close, personal, in your face for the Eagles, and it's just not happening at all.
Yeah, and Stanley's even starting to get some pressure up top. Double Doran's and also the Chalice, which we've seen him do in the past. He was the guy that first started the whole Chalice build, and everyone was like, really? But it gives him enough sustain on Nidalee, even with going with that tanky build. So we'll see what he does later. Olaf's coming up. It looks like they actually might go for a dive here underneath this turret.
I think they can pull it off, too. Stanley is deceptively strong now at this point. There's Little Balls popping down the ultimate, tanking the turret, wait for a heal or two. Kapichu flashing away from the turret, but I think Stanley, with one quick swipe of the paws, grabbing a kill onto the Shen top lane. Lil Panda was considering going up to help, but I was like, I don't want any part of that.
Amumu's bot, he's coming in for it. There's the snare. It actually misses on Bebe. They can't quite get it. The hook from Dinter almost could have been dangerous if he had landed that hook, but they are safe for the time being. It wastes a little bit more of Amumu's time, and they just continue to outfarm their opponents.
Yeah, and even then, even if Dinter did grab the Amumu, which is, by the way, if you play Blitzcrank and you're facing up against an Amumu, never grab Amumu unless you're TPA, because I'm pretty sure they would have actually been able to kill him right there with some help from the turret.
Well, not Amumu. If he had grabbed Zyra, then yeah, there's no question. They probably would have been okay to grab Zyra because Zyra is only level 5, didn't have the ult yet. But
yeah,
if they grabbed Amumu, that would have been the curse all over them, and I think Zara would have had enough damage to take them down.
Stanley here, top lane, taking down the top tier 1. It's as usually as he does, and now a 2-level lead over the Shen, getting ridiculous.
Baby has the ult.
That Baby does have the ult, and that is a Riven with her ult. Not enough damage to take out either the Blitz nor the Varus.
And look at Toys just 2v1ing both Apathy and Little Panda.
Toys is toying with the Panda. That's all he's doing. That's all he's doing. Stanley's right there off on the side, waiting for the wave to push up. You just throw some spears over the wall. Every single bit is going to help. It's Stanley. He's waiting for his moment. Wait for the creep wave to come in, and he's going to come straight on around behind tower and go for the pinch onto Panda here. Wait for the slow Q from Toys. Doesn't even need it. Has to use the ult to try and get away. Try and create some situations. Goes for the juke, but goes straight into Little Balls as he's weighing over onto the side of the jungle. Apathy misses with the bandage toss, and TPA takes down mid-tier 1. They're just completely piecing them apart one by one.
Yeah, that was a great job from Little Balls splitting, recognizing Zed's mobility to get out of there. So they're able to pick up that kill. I do think it's interesting though, watching Toys' playstyle. They go in for Dinter. They can't quite grab him. There's the ignite, does tick off. But Ron and Zar, they're really just screwed right now. The rest of TPA is following up. He's pushing up into the turret.
Wait for the axe underneath the turret, and that will be more than enough. Zyra ult not doing a whole hell of a lot.
They need the kill ult.
There's the kill ult on the Little Balls, keeping him safe, and there's Shentalk keeping people behind. The curse of the sad mummy, aptly doing something, but the tower goes down. TPA got what they wanted. Flash from Zard cannot clear the gap. Toys still relatively safe, but until he got into the bush, but takes Riven down with him. Stanley leaping away, and Bebe still healthy. Look, he's only lost about 100 health in this entire engage.
Yeah, the dangerous thing is if Varus gets slightly out of position, he's going to die very quickly. So just keeping perfect positioning, he does keep himself at full health. So really nice job there. They do lose a couple of kills, so it was a really nice turnaround from the Eagles. But they need to be picking up more kills than that. Right. They need to be getting 2-for-0 exchanges where they can just pick off people, because otherwise this whole team isn't going to work. The idea... what they're thinking with their team is that Zed is so insanely strong at killing 80 carries that they want to just be able to insta-kill Varus. And if they're able to insta-kill Varus, then it doesn't matter that they don't have an 80 carry, because neither will TPA. So right. That's the whole idea, is they want to be able to insta-kill Bebe, and then Riven is still going to be very strong. Right. The concern is, like we said, the kiting potential that TPA has, Blitzcrank CC, and then Kale's ultimate to completely defend Varus. So Bebe should be safe in that back lane, or back of the fight. And if they can't get to Varus, then they're going to be at a disadvantage. And they're already way behind. They
really are. And well, even when it comes to comps like this, the one thing I also love from TPA is on occasion buying items we don't see too often. That is a Gnasher's Tooth on Toys.
Yep.
Extra AP, extra attack speed.
They have to watch out, though.
It fits. Apathy out in front, but they know they have their Dragon Pit warded, but decide, what's a better option? Let's try and get Bebe. This is the game plan they've been going for this entire time, and you can't ult your AD if you're nowhere near him, but Toys 1v1ing Lil Panda here.
He's going to be able to take him down.
Should be able to do it. Ward out in front just to get some vision, and the Q blast alone was enough damage. That was like 400 hit points just on that alone.
Yeah, it was a lot of damage. Toy's a little bit out of position, but he's going to be able to back off easily. So TPA gets a nice advantage. And look at Little Balls up in the top lane, pushing down some. But one of the cool things that you can really see in this game in particular, but in every game, Toy's playstyle, he's not a very aggressive mid. He doesn't go for, flashy kills. He's not diving in on his opponents a lot of times, like, oh man, I just quick, bursted you down. He just plays it with this very slow, poke game. He just slowly he really is just a very passive laner, and he's very good with harass and keeping himself safe. And he uses that, his strength at harass and laning presence, to put pressure on the map. And that's all he does. He puts pressure on the mid lane and, takes pressure off the rest of his lanes. He's not making anything special happen, but he's just very safe as that passive player.
Lil Panda can't, his shadow is not even safe. Hook from Blitz, melts immediately. Varus ult, keeping everyone still. Amumu ult doing the best he can. Same thing with the Zyra, but all of the Eagles are being de-winged, dethroned. Type A assassins in one maelstrom of pain, bit by bit, taking away all the Eagles. Bebe is the only one to go down, but look at the advantage that the Assassins are continuing to carve out for themselves.
And that was really just because he thought it would be cool to get the ace. There was really no reason for him to go after Zyra.
Well, at this point in the game, you're so far ahead. I mean, they're going for style points right now.
He wanted the style points, but he missed out. So, the points don't matter, Bebe. But he has to back off.
Of course the points matter. He needs that ratio. He needs that KDR. He needs it.
No,
he
desires it's the KDS, the kill death style points. But he goes down. No real reason for it. It was also interesting. He didn't use his cleanse the entire fight until when he was diving after Zyra. And that just goes to show how much protection TPA is able to give him. That he didn't have to use cleanse for Mumu's ult. He just stood there and took it. He was like, all right, cool.
Whatever.
This isn't going to do much. But he will back off. Toys, again, just putting a lot of pressure. He's just forcing them to have to deal with him and just slowly building up a farm advantage. 50 CS over Zed.
He's just standing in the Amumu ult. He doesn't close. He just wants to stare at him. Like, what's going to happen the moment this ultimate ends. I just want you to know that.
And Zed really needs to be at more damage right now. He has the Brutalizer, but, at this point, because TPA of how far TPA is ahead, he really needs to have like a BF sword, and he's just not there. So it's really making it difficult on him. They have a burst damage team, but not enough burst damage.
And he's almost got the Black Cleaver. Almost has it, but even if he builds it now at this point, it's going to be way too late. So more damage being built, more hyper damage being built onto the Kayle with the Rage Blade now in effect. Varus, Bloodthirster, and the Brutalizer, plenty of damage in there. And TPA, they know the position they're in. They know they're ridiculously far ahead in the lead. Taking down that tower brings them to a 10k advantage on the 17th minute of the game. Absolutely unheard of.
Yeah, well, not unheard of with TPA.
Well, not unheard of with TPA, yeah.
Yeah, they're in a really great advantage here. The Varus also, because it's an all melee team, they have to, or mostly melee, they have to walk right into the Varus ultimate and AoE, and it just completely shuts them down. MLE trying to make something happen here, but TPA is perfectly fine with hanging out. They can just slowly push down this turret and make them force a fight that they're just not going to win.
Stanley off on his own, actually pushing top lane, splitting away while everyone else is keeping all of the Eagles busy in the mid. Shen split pushing, split defending, I suppose, down bot lane. And his ult is down at the moment. Not quite 11 yet. He does not have level 2. The cooldown is still at maximum length.
And another thing to keep in mind, they're at a really dangerous spot here because you look at Amumu, he has almost nothing on him. He's still very squishy because he was going for those, jungling items in the Philosopher's Stone. Lil Balls, on the other hand, is a god with that Warmogs. They just can't kill him.
Stanley off from the side. There is the Varus ult keeping the Eagles from getting back to their tower. Apathy has none. Amumu ult not enough to keep the Assassins at bay. That is the Shen down, that is the Amumu down. The two tankiest characters and the Eagles have melted, and the rest shall follow. Are you going to go for style points this time? Can you actually land it? Ron's way too far away, though. I think the Assassins are more than happy. They're going to take the tier 2. They're going for the tier 3. The inhib is going to be going down in this push, too.
Yeah, they're going to drop this inhib easily. But you see, there's just not enough damage, and they're just kiting them easily. They're using their ranged advantage to just slowly kite out the Eagles, and the Eagles don't have a response for it.
No.
And also, Amumu, he jumps in with his ultimate. He's trying to get off damage, but he dies so quickly that he does nothing, really.
Yeah.
So he's just not tanky enough at this point. He gets a ruby crystal when what he really needs is a giant's belt. So it's
what he really needs is 2 Warmogs.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. But they're really far behind right now, and it's making it difficult because they're not able to out split push TPA because Stanley is going to win any split push scenario, and that's what he's doing. So Stanley is continuing to pull ahead and farm, and they're not going to win team fights. So they really just need to be able to pick off individual targets. But TPA is doing a really nice job of staying together, grouped as a team.
They're doing the best they can. They're grouping up. They're fighting a little bit too far away from their towers, but unfortunately, over the passage of time, they're losing them at a rather rapid rate. Their best chance: sit back, try and lure all the TPA in, get a nice Amumu ult underneath the tower, so at least they have essentially a 6-man. That's what a tower is, essentially a 6-man fight, throwing down all those extra shots.
Hey, the tower's an AD carry for them.
Hey, yeah. A little bit.
Oh, Apathy close.
Caught out on the side. Does bandage toss over to the super minion pushing there in the mid. And Low Balls and Toys there. Hey, we want the super minion to get a little bit closer to you. We want the super minion to say hi. Shake hands with the moon. He needs a friend. Meanwhile, matching up, beating Stanley there in the top lane. Already getting to push in. Is that the gauntlet? He's got the gauntlet. Stanley's looking for immense amounts of slow while he's here, making sure that if the Eagles do engage, they cannot get away. Kauchu a little bit too far out, and Zar not with the team. Little Balls off on the side.
It's 3v5 right now, and they're still winning.
They are wrecking them 3v5. Zar down to have Apathy gone in a moment. Kapichu was taking way too much damage from Nidalee this entire time, and Lil Panda throwing down shadows when he can. It is not enough, and that is the tier 2 in top, now gone.
Yeah, they just have no way of dealing with them. They can't even take them without Varus and Blitzcrank there. Now they're going to be able to take a turret. The Ron, he's way out of position. He's going to go down quickly. Dinter popping him up, so they pick up another kill. 19-7. They grab a second inhibitor. This is probably going to be it, but look at Stanley. He's just zoning the rest of the team down by their Nexus as they make their way in.
Bebe, Stanley, and Toys taking care of the Nexus turrets while Dinter and Lil Balls taking care of the remaining inhibitor in top. Apathy out in front. Ultimate is still up and available. Need to wait for everyone on the Eagles. Kill more time until Zyra comes up. That is your best chance this late in the game. But Varus ult throwing him down onto the Shen. Keeps him down, keeps him dead. Same thing with the Amumu. Cannot get back to the safety of the fountain. And this is it. The power of the Taipei Assassins are
compels you.
It compels you. It compels you to lose, allowing the minions to push on in. Zar doing the best he can. Dinter will somehow live. No,
the perfect kill.
Perfect kill.
No, it barely goes down. I was wondering if it would protect long enough for the second proc of the Zed ult.
But that is the ace for the Assassins. The Nexus now naked. That thing's going down, and that will be it. Taipei Assassins taking their first game in the Season 2 GPL.
Yeah, really impressive play. TPA looks very strong right now. Don't really lose much without mistake, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when they are playing against a normal lane, a more standard lane.
Yeah.
And also what happens, when they're playing against a really top-tier team. And, whether or not he has enough laning presence for them to compete against, the top Korean teams or whatnot. I'm sure they're probably still practicing against Najin Sword. That was always really common for them.
Yeah.
But it's going to be cool to see. And I'm curious if people might try those kind of strategies more often without AD carries.
Right.
Just because the Assassins right now are so strong. Not Taipei Assassins. They are very strong. But Assassins in general are very strong right now at killing AD carries. So AD carries aren't safe. And there were so many nerfs to AD carry items that it's kind of like, all right, well, sometimes it's not even worth it to have the AD carry. Last Whisper also was hinted at that it might get nerfed in this upcoming patch, and that would be like a huge blow. So I wouldn't be surprised to see people try some unusual strategies that maybe don't involve AD carries.
But at the very least, though, if you have like one of your friends just starting out saying, oh, why do we need an AD carry? Have them watch that game. Just for
right, that works.
That works too. That's it for us in the GPL today. Thanks for joining us. We have many more matches to look at, but we'll have to save those for another time. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.